Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike. You are watching and you are listening to episode number 56 of the Rock Out Wild Show, where it's not just a show, it is a way of life. Now, if you are new to this very channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. You can also like or dislike this video as well, and share episode 56 of the Rock Out Wild Show to all of your social media platforms, from your Facebook to your X, your Instagram, your YouTube, what have you. And also spread the word. Tell everyone what the Rock Out Wild Show is all about, from your family to your friends to your coworkers and to your acquaintances. Tell all about the Rock Out Wild Show. I am your host, Just Mike, and as you see from the title of this very episode, I will be reviewing a game called Crazy Taxi. And in fact, I will actually open up my webcam just for a little bit and show you all the GameCube game that I have right here. That will be the main event for episode 56 of the Rock Out Wild Show. Also on the docket, we will have Today in History for February the 4th. Now, as I'm recording this, it's January the 22nd, but this will be aired in a couple of weeks' time. This will be aired on Wednesday, February the 4th, 2026. So I'm going to go over February 4th in music, film and television, wrestling, and sports. And to kick off episode 56 of the Rock Out Wild Show, I'm going to react to an old movie review of mine, a movie called Project Almanac. And what I'm going to do is open up the webcam and say hi to everyone watching this right now. So, Project Almanac. I remember this movie being a very, very good movie. So, I expect my reaction, well, not my reaction, but my review for this to be very positive. So let's get this going, shall we? So let's present, share screen. Let's go to the review. Make sure the audio is on. Let's go full screen. And before I get into my reaction for Project Almanac, I'm going to guess how many points out of 100 I gave this movie back in 2015. I am going to guess I gave Project Almanac my guess will be 91 points out of 100. I could be way, way off, but let's see what I did ultimately score Project Almanac. And let's react in 3, 2, 1, action. So one of the producers of this movie was Michael Bay. Yeah, the guy behind the Transformers movies. Let's just say this could have been a different story altogether if he was directing this movie. Thank God he was only a producer. This could have been a lot worse. And thank goodness it wasn't. Hey, what is up and how's it going, all movie fans in the movieverse? Welcome to the Mike McRock Movie Review Show. Right now I'm going to review a movie called Project Almanac. And this is a found footage sci-fi movie about a group of really smart teens who discover the secret plans of a time machine, so now they are going to construct one. However, things start to get out of control. The ripple effects occur when they change something in the past. The present and the future has also changed. So it does have that element of that movie, The Butterfly Effect. And the other movie I like to compare this to is Chronicle. However, I don't think this movie is as good as Chronicle, but it is a pretty cool movie and fun and entertaining to watch. And this... Now, to be fair here, I might be confusing Chronicle with Project Almanac, but we'll see how it all pans out here. The movie has some really decent acting. I don't think this was the worst
acting I've seen, nor wasn't the greatest. I thought the acting was fine. I think the main character in this movie, he was pretty functional. I never really had no problems with the main guy. But one of his friends, I thought he was kind of overcooking it. He was really annoying. But in the end, I thought the acting was pretty decent. They had some really good dialogue scenes and really good chemistry as well. There was also this romance going on between the main guy and some really hot chick in the movie. And I kind of didn't care about that. I wanted to see more time traveling stuff in this movie. And is there time traveling stuff in this movie? Of course there is. But it comes pretty late in this movie.
Right.
And so, with that being said, this movie was kind of struggling, trying to get going. It never really quite got there until the last 30 minutes of this movie where all the cool crap was happening. But of course, I like the discovery of it, and I like seeing the process of doing these trial tests here and there. And once they get to the time traveling elements, it's all about, going to the parties and getting the hot chick and stuff like that, which is fine, but not through the entire runtime for the entire movie. No, probably for the first 30 minutes that would be cool, but in the same time, the movie needs to keep going and going and going. It was kind of going in this big loop where it gets interesting and it doesn't. It gets interesting and it doesn't. And then it just takes off right at around the last 30 minutes of the movie where all the cool crap really happens. And once that gets going, it really gets going pretty well. It gets more suspenseful. However, I think the tension could have been a lot more there in the movie. And with all that being said, the effects in this movie were pretty cool. It was hit and miss. I thought, the glitches in the camera, the way the cinematography was done was pretty cool. But in the same time, this movie looks more professional than it does found footage. And, I never see a moment where the focus is bent out of light or the lighting in this movie. It's always perfect. So it feels more professional than it is found footage.
So, with that, what I just said there, is it really a found footage movie or is it professionally made? Like, is it like, what is it?
And I'm just nitpicking at this point, but that's one of the things I'm kind of nitpicking about found footage of movies in general. And this movie had some really cool moments, some boring, dragged out moments. I mean, that scene where they're in that Alpalooza, that concert, I think was starting to drag out a little bit too long. But once it got interesting, it got pretty good. So, with that being said, this movie's not breaking any new ground when it comes to found footage movies.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing special really happening, like, oh my god, that was awesome. None of that really happens. But there are some really cool things that does happen in this movie.
Right.
And there was also this thing that happens in this movie. Like I said, sometimes time traveling movies are not the most consistent. I found this one scene I thought to me was a little odd, and it was a scene where this guy, the main guy, goes back in time just to kiss the girl, but he really doesn't see himself in there. It was like, okay, where are you? It was weird. I thought that, if he were to go back in time to correct the wrongs, he would think he would see himself there because they all went there together.
Right.
So there's no consistency there. So yeah, you're definitely going to get some plot holes in this movie, which is fine, I guess. So this is not the most outstanding movie, nor wasn't a bad movie. This movie could have been a lot better, but I really had a fun time enjoying this movie. This was a really cool movie, and I will say that Project Almanac delivered 70 points out of 100.
I was way
and
off.
If you saw this movie, what did you think about it? Feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below and give me your thoughts about Project Almanac. And you can also hit that subscribe button as well to get McRocked.
So that was my reaction to my own movie review for Project Almanac. I think I was a little bit confused with two of my found footage science fiction movies. I thought when I was going to react to Project Almanac, I thought it was going to be Chronicle. It would be something like that. So I remember Chronicle being one of my favorite movies, and I gave that such high praise. So I was a little bit confused on what movie I was going to react to here. So that's the only reason why I was way off with my points. But still, a positive score for an average movie, somewhere around there. Would I watch Project Almanac again? No, I probably not. But that's pretty much it. So that was my reaction to my old movie review for Project Almanac from 2015. And let's do all the things that you normally see on the Rock Out Wild show. We're going to take a look at On This Day in February the 4th, and we're going to start with some music. So let's present, share screen, and let's see what happened in the world of music for February the 4th. As you see, here's a picture of Rock and Roll, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. As they close out a farewell tour, they close out a farewell tour in Birmingham, England. So on this day in music, of February the 4th, 2017, Black Sabbath played the final date of their farewell tour in their home city of Birmingham, UK. Credited with inventing heavy metal music, the band played a 2-hour set of 15 songs, culminating with their first hit, 1970s Paranoid, aptly dubbed the End Tour. The global run was comprised of 81 shows, while this particular date was documented as a film, Black Sabbath, The End of the End, and streamed live on Black Sabbath's Facebook page. In 1983, singer, drummer, and one half of the Carpenters, Karen Carpenter, passed away at the very young age of 32. After singing with A&M Records in 1969, the duo, which also featured Karen's brother Richard, quickly rose to become one of the biggest pop acts of the 70s. Along the way, Karen became the breakout star thanks to her stunning 3-octave range. Tragically, Carpenter also struggled with anorexia nervosa, which ultimately took her life. Following her passing, the condition received more attention, while Karen A. Carpenter Memorial Foundation was established to fund research on anorexia and other eating disorders. All I have to say is Karen Carpenter is an absolute legend. John Bonham. Oh my God. Where can I go with this? John Bonham should know that Karen Carpenter is an amazing drummer. So there you go. In 1977, Fleetwood Mac released their 11th album, Rumors. Their first album to top the charts on both sides of the Atlantic, Rumors sold over 10 million copies worldwide in its first month of release. In addition to earning Album of the Year at the Grammys, it was later inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame and selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress. In 1972, David Bowie recorded the final songs for his iconic fifth album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, including Rock and Roll Suicide, Starman, and Suffragette City. The record, which follows Bowie's fictional alter ego Ziggy Stardust, was released that June. Today, it is not only considered to be one of the groundbreaking artist's greatest works, but also one of the best albums of all time. In 1978, the Bee Gees kicked off a 4-week run at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 with Staying Alive, Staying Alive, the era-defining second single off Saturday Night Fever's soundtrack. And no, they are not a disco band. They're a hip-hop band. There's a distinction there. And in 2016, singer, songwriter, and producer Maurice White passed away at 74. White was best known as the founder and band leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire, as well as the co-lead singer alongside Philip Bailey. During his 5-decade-long career, the Songwriter Hall of Fame was nominated for 22 Grammy Awards, winning 7, and inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Vocal Group Hall of Fame with his bandmates. White was also a sought-after songwriter and producer who worked with the likes of Barbra Streisand, The Emotions, and Neil Diamond. We have some birthdays here for February the 4th in music. We have Alice Cooper, was born in 1948. From Kansas, Phil Ahart, who was born in 1951. Born on February 4th, 1960, is Tim Booth from James. Born in 1962 was Clint Black. In 1963, Wasserman from The Offspring was born on this day on February the 4th. And in 1975, February the 4th, Natalie Imbruglia was born. Those are all the events and things that happened on this day in the world of music. Now let's take a look to see what happened on this day, February the 4th, in film and television. In 1880, Steel McKay's play Hazelkirky premieres in New York City. In 1952, Jackie Robinson becomes the first African-American executive of a major U.S. TV and radio station as Director of Community Activities at Radio WNBC New York and TV station WNBT. In 1960, Lionel Bart's musical comedy Things Ain't What They Used to Be opens at the Garrick Theatre in London, and it runs for 886 performances. In 1962, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital opens in Memphis, Tennessee, funding for the cancer fighting facility led by entertainer Danny Thomas. In 1970, biographical film Patent, directed by Franklin J. Schlafner and starring George C. Scott, premieres in New York City. Academy Awards Best Picture, 1971. In 1979, Co-Ed Fever TV comedy debuted and canceled that outing on CBS. In 1991, Alex Trebek becomes the first person to host 3 American game shows at the same time: Jeopardy, Classic Concentration, and To Tell the Truth. In 1994, 10th Soap Opera Digest Awards Days of Our Lives win. In the year 2000, When We Will Make It Up to You, simultaneous video game The Sims, developed by Maxis, released in North America. In 2016, 5th Demographic Presidential Candidate Debate broadcast on MSNBC, held in Durham, New Hampshire. In 2020, radio personality Rush Limbaugh is presented the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Donald Trump during the State of the Union address. Those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of film and television for February the 4th. Now let's take a look at what happened on this day in the world of professional wrestling for that very day. As you see, there is a picture of Becky Lynch. So let's see what happened. Now, for February the 4th in wrestling, in 1977, Chavo Guerrero defeated Dory Funk Jr. to win the NWA America's Heavyweight title in Los Angeles, California. A few states away, Ted Oates defeated Bob Slaughter in St. Joseph, Missouri, to win the NWA Central States Heavyweight title, also known as Sergeant Slaughter. In 1995, ECW Double Tables was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On the show, Cactus Jack defeated the Sandman in a Texas death match. The main event saw Sabu and the Tasmaniac Devil beat the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge, and Rocco Rock. And no, not Public Enemy McMenemy, if you're wondering. And they competed in a double tables match to become the new ECW Tag Team Champions. In the year 2001, Women of Wrestling held their only pay-per-view, Unleashed, in Inglewood, California. The show was plagued by technical difficulties and a very low buy rate, which, along with very short matches, the first 4 matches lasted less than 10 minutes combined, caused it to go down in history as one of the worst wrestling events of all time. This pay-per-view caused the collapse of the company. On the card, Cage, Heat, Delta, Lonta, Payne, and Loca defeated Harley's Angels, Charlie Davidson, and Easy Rider to become the WOW Tag Team Champions. And Terry Gold defeated Danger to win the WOW World Championship. It is to be noted that WOW made a comeback at the end of 2012 and again in 2022. In 2004, at an NWA TNA Weekly pay-per-view taping in Nashville, Tennessee, the phenomenal AJ Styles and Abyss won the NWA Tag Team Championships in a match against Redshirt Secretary Kevin Northcutt and Joey Legend. In 2005, WWE taped Raw in Saitama. On the show, Tajiri and William Regal defeated La Resistance, Rob Conway, and Sylvain Grenier to win the World Tag Team Championships. Also in 2005, 2 titles changed hands at the IWA MS Indiana State Title Tournament in Valparaiso, Indiana. The first saw Danny Daniels take the IWA MS Heavyweight title away from CM Punk. And then in the main event, Brandon Tomaselli beat Trick Davis to become the NWA Indiana Heavyweight Championship. In 2006, Axel Rotten was found dead in the bathroom of a McDonald's restaurant in Lithcomb, Maryland, at the young age of only 44 years old. In 2017, CHIKARA National Pro Wrestling Day was held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Young Lions Cup XIII tournament took place, with each of the quarterfinal matches being a fatal four-way. The semifinals were traditional one-on-one matches, as was the final. Here's a qualifier. The Space Monkeys beat Ashley Fox, Dylan Exo, and Murloc. Another quarterfinal match, Cornelius Crummels beat Kajun Karadad, Ever Connors, and Razorhawk. Also in a quarterfinal match, Travis Huckabee beat Fly Warrior, Sonia D. Farg, and Travis Gordon. In another qualifying match, quarterfinal, The Whisper beat Hermit Crab, Stephen Mans, and Silverhawk. And we got the 2 semifinals here. The Space Monkey beat Cornelius Crummels. In the other semifinal match, The Whisperer beat Travis Huckabee. And in the final match, the Space Monkey pinned Huckabee after a moonsault and tail whip to become the new CHIKARA Young Lions Cup winner. In 2019, WWE Raw is in Portland, Oregon, and the show started with Becky Lynch getting suspended by Stephanie McMahon. Lynch reacted to this by attacking McMahon. The reason for the suspension was that Lynch had been injured at the Royal Rumble, but refused medical assessment because she didn't want to not be medically cleared for WrestleMania. McMahon said until she got checked out, she'd be suspended, so Lynch went for the disarm her. Also on the show, Ronda Rousey beat Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan in quick succession. We have some notable wrestling birthdays for February the 4th. We have Chris Sabin, born in 1952. Vin Gerard was born in 1986. And LT, Lawrence Taylor, was born on this day, February 4th, 1959. Those are all the things that happened on this day in the world of professional wrestling. And for the final installment for On This Day, we're going to take a look at sports for February the 4th. And we got lots of sports to cover, so let's get this to it. In 1902, Stanley Cup, Winnipeg Auditorium, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Montreal HC beats Winnipeg Victorias 2-1 for a 2-1 Challenge Series victory. In 1903, Stanley Cup Montreal HC beats Winnipeg Victorias 4-1 for a 2-1 Challenge Series win. In 1924, Jacob Tullen Thomas of Norway wins ski jumping gold at the Chamonix Winter Olympics. In 1936, he earns a silver medal in sailing at Berlin Summer Games. Also in 1924, Norway sweeps the medals in the Nordic combined event at the inaugural Chamonix Winter Olympics. Thorleif Haug wins his third gold of the games ahead of teammates Thorleif Stormstad and Johan Grottenbregten. Anyway, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that last name. In 1929, Archie Jackson scores 164 in Test cricket debut versus England at Adelaide, I should say. In 1931, National League adopts a dealer baseball. In 1932, third Winter Olympic Games open in Lake Placid, New York. In 1948, after winning the men's downhill, French alpine skier Henri Aurier takes the combined gold medal at the St. Moritz Winter Olympics, becomes most successful athlete at the games with a slalom bronze. Slalom bronze. Try to say that 10 times fast. In 1952, Jackie Robinson becomes the first African-American executive of a major U.S. TV and radio station as Director of Community Activities at Radio WNBC, New York, and TV station WNBT. In 1956, Soviet Union beats Canada 2-0 at Cortina d'Ampezzo to clinch their first ever Olympic ice hockey gold medal. U.S. takes silver, Canada bronze. In 1958, MLB Hall of Fame fails to elect anyone for first time since 1950. In 1960, voters failed to elect a new Baseball Hall of Fame member. In 1962, Russian newspaper Izvestia reports that baseball is an old Russian game. In 1968, Bowie Kuhn replaces William Eckert as fifth commissioner of Major League Baseball. In 1969, John Madden is named head coach of NFL's Oakland Raiders. In 1971, baseball announces a special Hall of Fame wing for black players and coaches. In 1972, Dutch speed skater Ard Schink wins the 5,000 meter at the Sapporo Winter Olympics, also wins the 1,500 meter and the 10,000 meter gold medals. In 1973, Islanders and Sabres had a penalty-free game, I should say. In 1976, XII Winter Olympic Games opens in Innsbruck, Austria. 1978 NHL New York Islanders rookie Mike Bossy scores first career hat trick in 6-1 win over Washington Capitals at Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. In 1979, 29th NBA All-Star Game, Pontiac Silverdome, Pontiac, Missouri. West beats East 134-129. MVP David Thompson, Denver Nuggets. In 1983, U.S. Male Figure Skating Championship won by Scott Hamilton. In 1986, 38th NHL All-Star Game, Hartford Civic Center, Wales Conference beats Campbell Conference 4-3 in overtime. MVP Grant Fuhr, Edmonton Oilers. In 1987, Sacramento Kings score only 4 points first quarter against Lakers, fewest in the period since introduction of 24-second shot clock in 1954. Also in 1987, San Diego Yacht Club's Stars and Stripes, captained by Dennis Corner, beats Royal Perth Yacht Club of Australia's Kawakabura three to capture the America's Cup at Fremantle, Western Australia. In 1989, Australian cricketer Dean Jones scores 216 versus WI at the Adelaide Oval. In 1990, Anders Holmertz swims world record 400 meters freestyle in 3:40.81. In 1990 also. Oh, now here's a name. Let's see if I can pronounce this. Ludmila Naro Zelenko runs world record 60-meter hurdles indoor. Oh my God! I am. If I pronounce that incorrectly, I am so sorry. That is one of the weirdest names I've ever read in my life. Anyway, let's move on. Also in 1990, New Zealand bowler Richard Hadley takes his 400th Test cricket wicket, Sanjay Manricker. Also in 1990, NFL Pro Bowl, Aloha Stadium, Honolulu, Hawaii. NFC beats AFC 27-21. MVP Jerry Gray, LA Rams, DB. Also in 1990, St. Petersburg Pelicans beat West Palm Beach Tropics 12-4 to win first Senior Professional Baseball Association championship. In 1991, Baseball's Hall of Fame Board of Directors vote 12-0 to bar Pete Rose due to his betting on games while a player and a manager. Yeah, he was. I remember he was known to bet on games, absolutely. And also in 91, NZ, New Zealand cricketers Martin Crowe and Andrew Jones make a world record 467-run stand against Sri Lanka at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. In 1995, Australian cricketer Dean Jones completes 324 for Victoria versus South Australia. Also in 1995, Sandra Volker swims female European record 50 meters backstroke in 27.77. Also in 1995, Zimbabwe's first Test cricket victory over Pakistan by an inning. In 1996, NFL Pro Bowl, Aloha Stadium, Honolulu, Hawaii. NFC beats AFC 20-13. MVP Jerry Rice, San Francisco 49ers. In 1997, there he is right there, the man, the myth, the legend, Mario Lemieux, his 7th NHL player to score 600 goals until a certain Russia destroyed it. In 1997, O.J. Simpson found liable in the deaths of Ron Golan and Nicole Simpson in a civil court action. And we all know how that panned out, didn't we? Remember that book he wrote called If I Did It? Yeah, need I say more? In 2001, 51st NHL All-Star Game, Pepsi Center, Denver, North America beats World 14-12. MVP Bill Gurian, Boston Bruins RW. Also in 2001, NFL Pro Bowl, Aloha Stadium, Honolulu, Hawaii. AFC beats NFC 38-17. MVP Rich Gannon of the Oakland Raiders quarterback. In 2007, Super Bowl XLI, Dolphin Stadium, Miami Gardens, Miami, Florida. Indianapolis Colts beat Chicago Bears 29-17. MVP Peyton Manning, Indianapolis quarterback. In 2013, Europol announces it will investigate over 680 football matches alleged to involve match fixing. In 2018, Super Bowl LII, U.S. Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Philadelphia Eagles defeat New England Patriots 41-33. MVP Nick Foles, the Philadelphia quarterback. In 2019, Caitlin Clark scores 60 points in a game for Dowling Catholic High School against Mason City High School, setting the second highest single game point total in Iowa 5-on-5 girls basketball history. In 2022, XXIV, I'm guessing 24? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Olympic Winter Games open in Beijing, China. In 2023, NHL All-Star Game, Sunrise, Florida. Atlantic beats Central 7-5 in 14 3-on-3 tournament. MVP Matthew Tkachuk, RW, Florida Panthers. Those are all the things that happened in the world of sports for February the 4th. And I do believe it is about that time for the main event for episode number 56 of the Rock On Wild Show. And that is my review for a game called Crazy Taxi. Now, I did play it in the arcade with a steering wheel. I thought that was really good. But I'm mainly going to talk about the GameCube game for this review. As you see from the title of this very video, I have that in brackets. So what I'm going to do is while I'm talking about this, I'm going to present a visual aid. So I'm going to present the share screen, a window that has the picture of Crazy Taxi right there. So, Crazy Taxi. When it comes to this game, the goal of Crazy Taxi is to get passengers to point A to point B and make some crazy money. You have to find passengers to get to their destination. Once they hop into the cab, you get them to their desired locations. And the more passengers you drive, the more money you get, and you have to get as many customers as you can until the time runs out. Now, you also get bonus points for not only getting there super fast, but also for reckless driving, whether you drive up on ramps or really close to cars. Now, and apparently passengers love it when you are close to crashing, so that they give you extra money. As you drive, you go way above, and I mean way above the speed limit here. You're going through red lights, you're bumping into cars, there's not a single police car to even stop you at all. Oh, and the car you drive is indestructible as well. It flips over, it turns over, or you could also drive it in water and it still keeps going. And this is a game where you cannot take your time at all. You cannot take your time to get your passengers where they want to go. And along with the time limit with the game itself, you also have another time limit with your passengers as well, as they're color coded. Green means that the trip is fast and you'll get a lot of bonus cash. Yellow means that it's a normal ride, not too slow and not too fast either. Red means you are taking way too long, and the customer will become impatient and even start to yell at you and even get mad at you once you get to your destination. And once the timer hits 0, they jump out of the vehicle. I mean, imagine this. A passenger, you cannot get to their destination, and they jump out of a running vehicle. That's just game logic 101 for you right there. And when it comes to picking up customers, you'll notice that either a green, yellow, or red circle is around them. What that ultimately means is that if a customer has green around them, you'll get a lot of money for that customer. It is a long ride for them. And if they have a yellow circle around them, you'll get some cash. So it's a very middle of the road type of run. And if they have a red circle around them, whether it's a light red circle or a dark red circle, it's a very short ride and you won't get as much money as you would a green customer. Now, when it comes to the positives, what I really like about Crazy Taxi is that this game is chaotic, and that is a very understatement. What I should say is that to say that this game is chaotic is an understatement. And to me, that chaos just adds to the fun. The craziness of Crazy Taxi and the mayhem it causes and the overall feel to the game gives Crazy Taxi its personality, and it makes it absolutely memorable. I enjoy this game from top to bottom here. And I really like the arcade version the most. Uh, and that's where I first learned how to play the game. And then a lot of years later, I've grown accustomed to the GameCube version of it. And I really enjoy playing both the arcade and original modes. And what you get on the GameCube game, you have the arcade version, you have the original version, and you also have this variety pack where you scroll down to the options and you'll see like a crazy box there. There's a whole lot of different stuff you can do there as well. You can uh, pop some balloons, uh, jump up ramps, and do different types of things. Has a lot of fun activities on that feature. And when it comes to picking up customers and getting to their destinations, I like that there are certain stops you can go where you see a bunch of customers in one spot. So, for example, the bus terminal has a lot of customers in that area, as well as the really green landscape of the square park as well. So, you get a lot there. Even the Westside Beach area has some customers as well, and there's customers underwater. Yes, you could pick up customers that are underwater, which is a really, really cool feature to the game. And I even dig this setting as well, as the arcade version of the game takes place in San Francisco, California, where you see cable cars in the game early on, and you'll see the landscape of San Francisco throughout the entire run. I don't know where the original mode is actually located, but that's something you can definitely check up and look up. Another big positive, the music. I think the music adds on to the craziness. With songs from The Offspring and Bad Religion that fit the game very well, I think. The music screams 90s, and it makes the gameplay even more fun and exciting. And the game has one of the most iconic voices in game history. When you open up the game, you'll hear someone say, "Hey, hey, hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi." And I love how energetic this guy's voice is. He has one of the most distinctive and unique voices that sticks with you and stays with you. And you just can't get it out of your head at all. And what he says is never repetitive. He seems like he has a lot of things and a lot of endless things to say throughout the entire game. And also, I got to give major props to the instruction manual as well. The GameCube game comes with an instruction manual, and there's actually information in this involving the cabbies and other information that the game doesn't tell me at all. There's actually backstories with the four cabbies. I'll actually go over some of these. So you have Axel, who's 21, uh, height six height is 6 feet. He weighs 150 pounds, 158, I should say. And it says here, this wild guy is known to have a hot and quick temper. His only reason for becoming a taxi cab driver is that he considers being a cabbie the coolest profession, and always shows his customers a good time while driving his 60s era classic cab, earning big tips in the process. For him, cab driving is the ultimate career. While he isn't working, Axel is usually trying to pick up women. Jimmy with his punk band and vocals on participating in board sports like surfing or snowboarding. That's it, however, Axel's overly free-willing nature causes his band members to come and go on a regular basis and prevents him from maintaining decent relationships with women. Oh well, what's a guy to do? While he isn't perfect, his open-hearted personality and naturally cheerful nature means he kind of grows on you. His most redeeming quality is that he is especially gifted at meditating whenever there is trouble or fighting amongst his many friends. So that's Axel, the first cabbie. The second cabbie is Gina, who's a woman, age 23, height 5'7". And it says, if Gina could be described in 2 words, Without a doubt, those words would be cool and sexy. With a strong passion for cars, her reason for becoming a cab driver is simply because I get to race around in my car all day. While she's not so concerned with amusing her customers per se, she sure is timely. When asked if she's while asked if she'd be happier as a race car driver, she just laughs and then replies, "But it's such a rush to race through the traffic London streets, I could never give this up." When Gina is not working in her beloved cab, she is usually be found working on it. She can usually be found working on it. In fact, she spends nearly all her time and money performing extensive tune ups, maintenance, and cleaning. It's no surprise that most of the money she earns goes straight into her cab. Despite her cat fixation, men are attracted to Gina's beauty, but she simply turns her nose up at any man who dares to try to woo her. Clearly, the sole object of her affection is the one and only their cab itself. Then you have BD Joe, who I like playing with. Don't take that out of context. Uh, BD Joe, he's always friendly and cheerful. That's BD Joe. For him, driving a cab is a line of work in which he can make people happy. Happiest when he can drive, bring a smile to the face of the customers. BD is a master of both driving and conversational techniques. Even when not driving his cab, BD Joe is well known as an accomplished performance artist. He could throw together some lids and drum cans, and using a pair of drumsticks can blow you away with his musical prowess. His rhythms sound so fine they put the professional musicians to shame. His talent is such that he is often asked why he doesn't perform professionally, but he just laughs and says, "Making people smile is reward enough. For me, besides, cabbing is too much fun to give up." Lately, BD Joe has taken up card tricks. What, you may ask? Because by doing so, he can make anyone's day anytime, anywhere. And last but not least, we have the cabbie. His name is Gus. Gus is a handsome drifter who typifies the term cool. He holds the unique distinction of being the originator of the crazy style. In his youth, Gus was a wild and uncontrollable hooligan, selfish to a fault. He's hated to lose and always had to be number one at all costs. With a strong fascination for all things new, Gus was naturally drawn to that one unique trend that was totally cool. With a knack for getting into something before it became popular, in the days when he didn't even own a car, he was riding in a normal taxi when he had a flash of inspiration and brought an old junked out 1955 Jalopy. That began the crazy taxi trend. When Gus isn't driving, he can usually be found playing cards. When the working days end, he meets with his poker buddies to while away the time playing poker, blackjack, and baccarat. A benefit of his gambling is that Gus has come to understand the ways of strategy, thereby mellowing his former desire to win at all costs. Learning the way and how of losing, he has made Gus a better person. And so those are the four cabbies that you can play. I'll run them quickly over again. Axel, Gina, BD Joe, and Gus. And there's actually backstories with some of the customers in this instruction manual as well, which is, let's just say that this game definitely went the extra mile. No pun intended. Now, in terms of any issues with the game, nitpicks, negatives, what have you, there's really only a couple here. The one thing I think that the GameCube game really needed is a casual mode, where you pretty much just do everything at your pace and at your own leisure. Kind of more like a practice mode, if you will. I mean, sometimes you just want to unwind with no real time limit in place, and just drive the cab in a casual manner. That's one thing I think the Crazy Taxi GameCube game could have used. Also, sometimes the direction arrow in the game will lie to you a little bit, especially in the original mode of the game. That can be confusing. Now, if you really know the game and where you are going, you don't necessarily need to rely on that arrow on top of the screen. But if you are still learning the game, the arrow would lie to you a little bit. It will stall for a few seconds, or will want to make you make radical turning decisions that would slow the pace quite a little bit. It is a little bit janky every now and then. But overall, Crazy Taxi is one of my favorite games of all time. It's a really fun, really exciting game that I never get bored with. I absolutely love the insanity that it brings. I love the energy it gives me, and I love a lot of things about this game that makes it worth playing. I'll give it 8 out of 10 points and say, yeah, 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 yeah. That was my review for the game, Nintendo GameCube game, Crazy Taxi. There it is right there. There is the GameCube game right there. And this has been episode number 56 of the Rock Out Wild Show. I'm going to leave you all with a quote, and it goes something like this. Letting go of things can be challenging, but remember that releasing what no longer serves you open up space for new opportunities and growth. Embrace the freedom that comes with decluttering your life, whether it's physical belongings or emotional baggage. Trust that by letting go, you are making room for positivity and abundance to flow into your life. However, allow yourself to release any guilt or attachment and focus on the present moment and the possibilities it holds. Remember, you are not defined by what you possess or hold on to, but by your resilience and capacity to adapt and evolve. Embrace the journey of letting go, knowing that it is a courageous step towards a brighter future. I am your host, Just Mike. This has been episode 56 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And on a final note, to all of you watching and listening to this all around the world, get plenty of rest and always do your best.